Today on the Tin Manor podcast show, I've got Alexander Cottle, men's transformation coach, men's wellness coach, and the owner of Unmasked Man. Mm-hmm. Where did this start, brother? Where did it start?
Do you want the long version?
Give me the long version.
I was a man, 27 years old, suffering in the world, lost, lonely, chasing all of the goals that society had told me to chase, from money and success. I was trying to please everyone else but myself, and that led me to a career path that was very successful. I was working in the US and London, and
doing what?
I was an interior architect.
Wow, okay.
For high-end residential design. And at 27, I had a TIA stroke. So this is basically a stroke that doesn't clot. So I was coming back from Central Park. My hotel was just opposite Central Park, and got to my room. I had this pain in my chest for about 2 weeks from my trip to LA. Lots of drinking, lots of cocaine, lots of partying, not looking after myself. Go, pressure, work. And then that amalgamated in suddenly the collapse of my left-hand side. So my face started to drop, my arm, my leg, couldn't feel my body. And I just remember that being the most fearful state in my life. And I actually limped onto the bed, reached for the phone with my good hand and put it on my chest, and kind of muttered the words to reception like, I need an ambulance, because I couldn't actually physically speak. Wow. And she didn't really comprehend what I was trying to do until I started saying 911, ambulance, and she was like, okay, someone's coming to you straight away. And then that led to the paramedics coming up, taking me to Mount Sinai Hospital, running a bunch of tests on me, and gradually, as I looked at the ceiling of the hospital over those 4 hours, I was looking down at my arm, and it started to come back to life, and I started to move the left-hand side again, and they came and explained that I'd had this TIA. I was very fortunate that this wasn't, more severe. And over the next coming days, I was able to go home back to London, and it was there that I had a number of panic attacks, started to go into deep depression, and a few months later tried to take my own life. And that was... So where did it start? The culmination of emptiness, the culmination of depression, loneliness, going in a direction that I thought everyone wanted me to be, rather than honoring and following my heart, and chasing the dreams of society, not the dreams of what I wanted to bring forward. And so from there, I started to pull myself together bit by bit after the failed botched suicide. I tried to take an overdose, and my mum found me. It was horrendous. It was really, I'd gone from this high status job, well paid, girlfriend, flat, living the good life, to being washed in the bath because I was just couldn't even function. To get through a day and dress myself was a good day. It was proper rock bottom. Didn't want to live, didn't want to be around. Wanted to give up. And then from that moment, I started to see certain teachers. I went down the traditional Western medicine approach, but that didn't, I was classed too suicidal for help, and they couldn't provide me. They were just here's a packet of citalopram, some zopiclone.
What's that?
Citalopram is an antidepressant.
Right, okay.
Zopiclone is a sleeping agent, and then diazepam is to calm the nervous system.
Shit.
So
No.
I was just basically a walking zombie, and I was this is helping temporarily because I'm having these severe panic attacks, but this isn't helping me long term. And I was quite fortunate enough to be brought up in quite a holistic alternative offering of a family, not always following the conventional path. And I just said to my family one day, I need to go, and I packed my bag, and I just left. I left for a meditation retreat in Portugal. And I said, I don't know if I'm coming back. And I was fortunate enough to have some savings from my time in London. And I was like, I'm going to go sort myself out. And I actually returned back to the UK. I went on a kind of a 6-year journey, but after 3 years was my journey back to the UK, and that took me all around the world. It took me first to Portugal, then I flew out to Thailand, and that's really when my life changed. I set myself up in like a healing center there and just focused on meditation, yoga, qigong, neigong, started to explore plant medicines and different alternative therapies, started to work with the somatic body and the physicality of the body, not just the mind, and realizing the illusions of the mind. And in that process, I came back a number of times, visited India, traveled to Bali, found a lot of Eastern mysticism supporting and helping me, and mixing it with Western psychology, amalgamating the two for this kind of golden union of understanding my brain, my spirit, my body. And somewhere along the way in 2018, there was a book that landed on my desk, and it was called King, Warrior, Lover, Magician by Robert Moore and Douglas Sheeley, which is
The Archetypes.
The Archetypes, Discovering the Masculine Archetypes, yeah. So this introduced the concept of men's work into my life, which I had kind of a little bit of interest in, but I hadn't really divulged fully. And I just resonated so much with this archetypal model, that we have these archetypes that live inside of us, this warrior, this king, this magician, this lover, and they are parts that, if we don't move into the healthy qualities, can play out in shadows, parts that we've denied, suppressed, or deemed unacceptable to ourselves. So
beautiful, mate.
The lover can become the addict. Well, that was me.
Yeah.
The magician can get lost in chasing the wrong goals, and lost in his own mind, and lost in psychosis. That was me. Yeah. The warrior can become a workaholic. That was me. Yeah, and the king was certainly not. He was abdicating his power and probably living in tyrannical reign from tyrannical bosses. So that was me. So I was noticing these parts. It resonated with me so fruitfully that in 2018 I started my first men's circle, and I started a movement on the beach. It was like four men, and I called it the Unmasked Man. I still have the same talking stick. How long ago was that? That's over coming up 8 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. So we've got the talking stick that we still use.
Talk to me about that then. So you thought to yourself, right, I'm going to put a circle on. Are you nervous? Have this imposter syndrome kicking in? How do you get people to that when you've not done it before?
Yeah, so I was pretty good, because I was a qualified yoga teacher at that point, meditation teacher. I was used to holding spaces and groups, but leaning. Never
for yourself though.
Not for I'd held them for groups. I'd held them for myself, but I'd not held like specifically male orientated spaces. And they started to weave in a yoga offering that I was offering in Portugal when I started to run yoga and surf retreats. And we started to kind of do men's and women's circles. But there was this imposter syndrome of, who am I to lead a man? Who's this guy with long hair and tattoos? Like, how's the conventional man going to be able to meet me in this place? And the way I met men was through deep authenticity, through unmasking, and through pain, through wounding, and through the illusions of chasing the things that we shouldn't have to chase as men. We've got to be this grandiose hero archetype and achieve everything that we need to achieve. Now, often this is coming from a deep laying father wound of trying to prove to our fathers that we are someone or something. Yeah. So that started off as 4 men on a beach. We still have the same talking stick to this day that I reached around and grabbed from a palm tree. And that's gone through thousands of men's hands.
So the talking stick, mate, what's that?
Yeah, sorry, I'm using terminologies. And the talking stick is when the men share, it's an opportunity for men to be heard and listened to without interruption. So the talking stick, when a man has a talking stick, we respect the man that has the stick, and that he is able to be seen and to be witnessed in whatever he needs to bring forward. That might be him standing up and just crying and just letting it out. It might be him standing up and screaming and just being witnessed in it. It might be him sharing something deep from his soul that happened to him as a boy. But essentially it creates rules and structure and boundaries, masculine energy in the container that we don't interrupt, that we're not here to fix, to tell a man what he absolutely needs to do. We're here to listen, to hold and to support, and to then be in that collective unmasking space, that space of vulnerability, and to just shed the layers that men have so deeply wanted to all their lives, but often they don't because of the stories and the interactive values that have come forward, mostly from society, i.e. like we come from grandfathers that had to be at war, and those grandfathers were warriors. They were in the warrior archetype. And so when you're a warrior going to war, there's not a lot of time for talking about your emotions and your feelings. You have to bury your feelings 6 feet underground, right? And so that's productive for the job at hand that they needed to do. But then those men returned back and brought up boys with the same energy. These boys, they weren't at war.
Yeah.
In the 60s. So the fathers were passing this, what they had experienced down, this generational trauma to their sons, this stiff upper lip. And this has been carried from generation to generation. I would say it's only now that we're not having that as men, and actually men are being curious about talking about their feelings, their vulnerabilities, their emotions. They're actually realizing that true courage is vulnerability, which is our slogan, and that actually by unmasking and taking a moment, taking a break to look after my mental, my physical, my spiritual, dare I say it, well-being, that I can then start to move into becoming a better man for me, for my family, for my partner, for my community. And that's what it's all about, right? Is then how can I bring my goal back to community? That's the true hero's journey. Yeah, moving through my own pains, my own sufferings, not alone, because every man tries to do it alone, the lone wolf, but actually asking for mentors, asking for teachers, guides, coaches, support, and then bringing that knowledge back, which is what I've done. I had so much help along the way. So many people I asked for help during those very, very desperate years. And then I learned how to stand on my own 2 feet. I learned how to lead. I learned how to own my shadows and own my power. And then there's a responsibility. This is the true sovereign energy. The king energy is giving it back to the world, giving it back to the community, and being an inspiration for others to then follow. That one that burns so bright that other men follow, and then he gracefully falls back into the distance. That's what a true leader does. And kind of holds that container with father-like energy. So it's been a journey. Through that path, I grew in confidence. I grew in myself. I developed as a leader, bigger audiences, bigger rooms, bigger teaching styles, and transformed thousands of men's lives at our retreats, workshops, festivals, and we're getting really renowned now for our work through word of mouth, through recommendation, and what we can achieve in the room. But it's life-changing stuff when men come and work with us. It's an honor. It's an honor to be part of this.
Where is your place then?
So I'm in Somerset.
Yeah.
But we've got men's circles in London that we run. We've got some up north in Harrogate as well, and then we've got some in East Sussex. And then our retreat centre that we use, it varies because we hold trainings or retreats, but predominantly most of them are in Dorset in the southwest. And then we also do some abroad in Morocco. I take a group of men each year to Morocco. We've also got training facilities that we use in Oxford, Devon, and Somerset. So it depends on what offering you're coming to experience. But
what does a retreat look like then for somebody wanting to come on a retreat?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we take an everyday man that is struggling, and over those 4 days we teach him how to explore the different fundamental archetypes of the masculine, right? So what I just talked about there: king, warrior, lover, magician. So we have 4 days, 4 archetypes at our level 1, which is a great starting point for men to come to. And they will somatically experience, somatic means body, breath, like physically experience what it's like to be in that archetype each day, to move through maybe 10, 20 years worth of trauma in 4 days, because there's big processes, emotional processes that we lead a man through. This isn't about men just getting together, having a chat. It's a deeply transformational journey over those 4 days. We leave watchers behind. We surrender to the journey. We don't tell you what's going to happen. It will trigger you in a positive way for the emotions to arise as well. But it's all done with delicacy. It's all done with care, and it's all done with vulnerability, and it's all done with you are in charge, in the sense of everything is an invitation. If you don't want to do anything, you don't have to. But I will, as the lead facilitator, I will get you to lean into your edges, because that's where we grow, that's where we expand. So I will challenge you in a healthy way to meet that vulnerability in yourself. And a huge part of what we do is going back and facing the childhood trauma. So maybe there was a parent that hurt us, often the father figure in men. Maybe dad left, maybe dad was abusive physically, psychologically. Maybe mum was overbearing, controlling, or maybe mum was an alcoholic, drunk, unpresent. Yeah, maybe there was a bully at school. Maybe there was a teacher that didn't like you. Maybe you were abused physically or again psychologically. I've worked with men from the Royal Marines. I've worked with men that have been kidnapped. I've worked with men that you wouldn't even believe their stories. And we hold a space for you to, in a safe container, regress back to certain periods. We can't do it all in 4 days because there's so much there. But the big red buttons, the parts that really need looking at, they can be explored in those 4 days, that we can start to really move the stuck emotion that's in the body. Because if you were hurt all those years ago, right, 20, 30 years ago, that energy still exists in your body. Somewhere along the way, that trauma cycle didn't get completed. So you felt all this anger in your body, and as a child, maybe anger wasn't allowed in the household. So you shut that down, right? You shut that down. Where does it go? It turns on the host. Okay, so then it starts to build as a heavy inner critic. It starts to torment that man, or it leaks out on his family and the people that he cares about. So we take a man in a safe environment to feel that unprocessed rage, that unprocessed anger, right? And that might mean us holding a man physically. I call it the grenade. Okay, and so we with conscious and consensual triggering, we trigger that man so he can start to feel that rage that he has suppressed or never gone back to as a boy. Then we can contain that rage that often goes out into society and leaks itself out into society because it's held in that container. And always after anger comes wallowing grief. So the anger is actually the barrier for the grief that's underneath. So you have this man go all the way up to his deep chaos, his deep rage, his deep anger, and then the body caves forward usually, and he just falls apart on the floor. And that's when you see the wounded boy, and that's when so much love is needed and care and reparenting in that process. So that's what a man comes to experience on those 4 days. And what that does is that energy that's been stored in the body for 30, 40 years, in some cases even longer, creates space for new energy to bring in. You know, the heart starts to open, the body starts to open. They're less defensive, they're less on guard, they're less looking for, like, is that guy trying to threaten me? Is that guy trying to have a fight with me? He's just a bit more relaxed and more loving in himself. He starts to show up with his family. He's not getting triggered and leaking his energy on people all the time. He's more healthy in relationships. So it affects every single part of his life. His work gets better because he realizes that he doesn't need to work from a place of lack or a place of inadequacy. Actually, like, he's confident just being him. So that is the first stage, our level 1. And then most men, you know, we have a great percentage of men that carry their journey with us. So maybe that will take them to level 2, where we start to look at other areas like addiction, sexuality, mother wound, father wound, a bit deeper. The nice guy is a classic one. And then it depends how much they want to explore. We take men on facilitator trainings, how to lead this work. We start a new one this coming October, and that's guiding men to step up into leadership. And some men come to do that to lead other men, and some men come to do that to find leadership in themselves because they might have been lacking it or not having the right healthy role models for it. So, or just come for a men's circle to be vulnerable and to share. It depends on them.
Where does the talking stick come from originally? Where is it from, that? So
we've sat in circles for thousands of years,
right?
As human beings, and I don't know the complete origins of it, but this protocol of respect, of acknowledging the elders in the circle, certainly acknowledging the wisdom that sits in the circle, and then allowing each individual to speak and to have space to speak. because often people don't feel safe to speak, or they don't get given the window and the time before they're interrupted. How are you doing? When that question is asked, often people don't necessarily want to hear the answer, or they'll shut that man down before he actually gets to meet himself. There is nothing better to expose what's going on for a man than silence. So even if you're stood there for the first 30 seconds, not really knowing what to say, feeling the uncomfortableness in your body, that's brilliant, because that might be the space that you need to actually go, do you know what, something's not right here, and I need to honor that, and I need to speak that. I'm feeling scared right now. I'm feeling grief. I'm feeling like I don't want to be up here. I don't want to be sharing. Yeah. Just share whatever's on your mind. That's welcome. So it's a place without shame or judgment as well.
It's like throughout time, has there ever been like, obviously you got like, for the women you get the covens and stuff like that. They've always had circles where they go and talk. As men, through time, has men ever had that, just a men's circle?
I believe so. If you date back, like just how we've come into like the chiefs and the clans coming together to talk.
Indians like with the peace pipe and they're all in the thing. Yeah.
Coming to be as one, coming to discuss ideas for the tribe, for the community. A circle is a place where no one can hide and everything can be unveiled and truth can be spoken if it's held in the right container with the right energy.
That's the key.
And that's the key.
In it.
Yeah. And that stops the triangle happening of power, happening at the top, and then the other voices getting shut down. A circle is a space for us to come into and be equals. Even us leaders, even us facilitators. I think one thing that the Unmasked Man does incredibly well, and what people comment on, is that as the facilitators, we're right in there with the men. We're not these coaches.
From a hierarchical.
No. We're not here like we're completely fixed and better than you. I hate teachers that teach like that. It's like I've learned a lot of skills and a lot of tools that I can help you explore yourself with, and I can share those, but I'm not the finished article. So please don't put me on a pedestal because I don't want to be on one. And I will go to the trenches with you. And because I've been to the trenches, I know I can go with you, and I will hold you there. I will hold you to the depths of however deep you need to go. And I will be there every step of the way with you. And I will feel with you. Maybe you're crying, maybe I'm crying at the same time. Let's cry together. It's not like we are these shiny, finished, like transformational coaches that have got all our shit together, because I can assure you, no man has. And I've seen many.
What was your biggest cathartic moment through the transformational, when you talk about the darkness, what was that?
I think it was after the suicide, and it was a few days after, and I was staying in the attic room of my parents' house, and my back was against the radiator, and I was contemplating doing it again, even a few days after the failure. And it was at that moment that I realized no one was coming to save me, and that I had to do this with the strength of my own humanness. Now, I don't want that to get misinterpreted as I had to do it alone, because no, like I said, I had so much help during that whole journey, and still do to this day. I have a counsel, I have mentors, I have coaches, I have a PT, I have lots of people that help Alex's kingdom, right? But I knew that I had to move from victimhood. I knew I had to own that, like, fuck, I've got myself in a bit of a hole here, and I need to be the one to pull myself out. Like, I can't do this for anyone else. I have to do this for me. I know men that have started to do this for other people, and that can be a little bit of a Kickstarter, but essentially you have to say that this is rock bottom. There is no going back from here. Like, this is why sometimes it's almost better that someone hits that rock bottom than kind of just stays a little bit above it. Because if he keeps getting rescued at this level, he never actually truly can find the energy to pull himself back from that abyss, which I went to. So sometimes it's almost better that we're not allowed, but give the space for someone to go to that place that they can then start to stand up by themselves. It's the difference between challenging and rescuing, essentially. I don't want to rescue my clients. I want to challenge them. I want to call them in to meet themselves.
Oof.
Yeah. I want to call them up to rise. I was chatting to someone last night about partnership and about the masculine and feminine. I don't want to divert too much, but I was saying about your partner shouldn't complete you. That's romantic love, right? Soulmates, completion.
Disneyland, isn't it?
It's Disneyland. My partner and I, she challenges me to be the best version of myself.
Vibrating upwards together.
And we're rising together. So she's going to trigger me because that's liberating. That's triggering a part in myself that I'm not liberated in. So when you meet that part of yourself, and as a coach, when you can work with clients and you challenge them to rise, you challenge them to meet that part that you can see in them, they just can't quite see it in themselves yet. That's what I do with men. And that there's no better reward than seeing men go from shy, closed down, unconfident, scared boys to empowered, shoulders back, spine, leading a room, using their voice not coming from here, but coming from their belly, from their balls, owning the room, owning their power, owning their sovereignty, their yes and their no, and then taking that out into communities and serving and helping and showing up better as a father, showing up better as a partner, showing up better with their friendships and at work and what they can offer the world. So it's good stuff.
On the 4 days, are you doing breath work?
Yeah.
Within them things, and how does it work then? Are you giving people the knowledge and then bringing it up through the breath work? What's the?
So I
don't want to give away your.
No. Yeah. So we try not to give away too much away because the problem is that if you know too much, you come in your head. Right. You don't arrive.
You're sort of controlling it.
Yes.
Before you get there.
And a man wants to control everything, usually. So that's why we take the watches away. Yeah. We encourage to leave the phones in the room, not to bring them into the spaces, and to put work down for 4 days, which can be hard for men. Because if they know too much, they're going to start questioning and getting lost in this thing. And the problem is that they've trusted this thing, the mind, too much for too long, which has got them in the very problem that they're trying to heal. Yeah. They've got to remember and trust the body, the emotions of the body. If thoughts are the language of the mind, emotions are the language of the body. You can't heal.
Say that again.
If thoughts are the language of the mind, thoughts are emotions, should I say, are the language of the body.
Perfect, beautiful.
And you cannot heal the mind through thinking. Yeah. You can only heal the mind through feeling. So when we've got a mental health crisis...
So we're talking about that sort of brain to heart coherence, aren't we?
Yes.
Right.
The reason the mind is ill is because of the suppressed grief, the suppressed anger, the suppressed fear.
And then we're telling out stories to ourselves in our mind.
Yes, because if you've got suppressed anger, that will show up as an inner critic, a very harsh like voice in the head. Yeah. Okay? Yeah, so we need to feel that anger that we've not felt to then quieten down the voice in our head. Yeah. If I've got suppressed grief, that might show up as a very heavy depression. So I can't think my way out of sadness. I can't think my way out of anger. I can't just override a negative with a positive. This is kind of 1990s coaching American world. Is like, just think positive. Don't get me wrong, affirmations and manifestations are absolutely brilliant, but you need to be coinciding them with somatic feeling practices as well. So helping a man move into his heart, and over those 4 days, giving him the space to feel and to land in his body, even though he doesn't know that that's the process, that's what we're doing. Yeah. That's why we bring in cold water therapy, right? There's no better place before you get in a cold bath. Your mind's telling you, I don't want to do it. And your body is actually experiencing it and dropping into your parasympathetic nervous system.
I love it, Alex. I love it, mate. It's so good,
So you've got your cold water, and then you've got breath work as well. We use other practices that are a bit secret and a bit kind of brought in from Eastern mysticism and different techniques and Western psychology. A lot of the work of the archetypes is derived from Carl Jung. Okay, and Douglas Sheila and Robert Moore, who wrote the book in the 1990s during the mythopoetic men's movement. They were Jungian analysis, so a lot of it has got solidity and that masculine approach of like, why am I doing this? Because a man needs to know why.
Yeah.
You know, if I tell a man to sound and to sound for a long exhale, he needs to know why. Like, why are you asking me to make this weird sound and to start breathing on a longer exhale? Well, the question is, when you do that, you start to drop into your parasympathetic, you stimulate the vagus nerve, you start to awaken your rest and digest system in your body, and you start to feel calmer, your heart rate starts to go down, which means that your mind starts to quieten down as well. They can get on board with that once you tell them the science behind it, right? And that's the same with cold water therapy. It's like, what are the benefits? And you start listing all of the benefits of why I do this. And actually how I'm dealing with the triggers and stress in the cold water will be a direct mirror to how I deal with the triggers and stress in my everyday life. Yeah. So this is why we are constantly teaching them. We'll be having workshops where we'll be doing the feeling, and then we'll be having workshops where we'll be doing the teaching. And we'll be teaching the men about the archetypes and the different shadows and the pitfalls of what they could fall into and where not to tread.
Is it important to do them a certain way around for you? Do they need to know the knowledge first before they get the feeling, so then they can...
The way that the program's structured is that we weave it between the golden union, which is, for me, top down, psychological understanding, right? Head, bottom up, somatic embodiment.
Right.
So the golden union of any learning, any form of whatever you're teaching, you don't learn through just reading. You can't drive a car through just reading how to drive a car. You need to experience what it feels like to hold the gear stick, to hold the wheel. So that's the embodiment side of things. But you still need to study and learn how to pass the tests and what each symbol means and so on and so forth. So when you can bring and amalgamate those top down, bottom up, golden union energies together, great things can happen. So we kind of move between those dependent on what we're doing and where we are and what kind of, whether it's a retreat or training. But that's the best transformation I've seen. Even men that come and work with me and they do the coaching, I say to them, first thing, I'm like, look, we're gonna do so much here, one-to-one coaching, but I want you to come to a retreat as well, because I need to get you in a room. Because even Zoom is a hiding place. The computer screen is a hiding place. I need you to get feeling in the room, not just behind Zoom. And that might be a stage and a process. They might start off on Zoom, and that's fine. That's where they're at. But gradually, the healing that can be done in group circumstances is so powerful, because if you're a man that struggles to feel anything, which a lot of men do, they might be on the outside of the circle going, why am I here? What am I doing? Suddenly, a man steps in the circle and explains exactly how they're feeling through their share, which suddenly opens the man on the outside of the circle, and he starts to well up. And he's like, I don't even know where these emotions are coming from. But he doesn't have maybe the connection to his own body to express how he is feeling, but that man stepping forward has just allowed him to find something in himself. It's like watching a movie or going to the theatre and suddenly like crying and being like, oof, like this has got me, right? So when one man steps forward, he does the work not only for himself, he does it for the whole circle. And so then that can open a man. I've had men come to our workshops and our retreats and they said, look, I'm going to challenge you at the beginning, Alex. I haven't cried in 40 years. I don't know why I'm here. My wife sent me. I don't think this is for me. I'm like, it's fine. Trust the process. I'm confident in, I know that what we can deliver is incredible. And it's not a challenge to try and get them to cry or to open. I just know that it's going to happen. I know that you can't go through the process that we bring forward and you not to have some form of quite life-changing transformation. It's been cleverly crafted again and again. We've made it better each time for that man to get what he needs. And it's not, it's a takeoff point. It's not like, come experience it and that's it, I'm done. No, like if you want to change, this is the start, right? Men's work needs to be in your life moving forward. It's not for Christmas, it's for life, is what I tell people. Because then that's when they'll see the solid changes. It's not like, oh, come and have a peak experience and then I've ticked that box off. I can tell my wife I've done that. It's like, no, come and stay committed to the work and you will see every area of your life change. And it is beautiful to witness those men that are brave enough to back themselves and to go on that journey. And so much so that we've had so many women reach out to us and go, where can I go? You know, and we have provided a space for women now with the Unmasked Woman, which runs usually once a year. Our primary focus is on men, but they've seen the transformation in their men coming home and they're like, wow, like, I want a bit of that. Yeah, I want a bit of that. So it's important that even if you're a skeptic, to lean in and to trust and surrender, and you will be very, very shocked. Like I say, we've had men come in their 60s, 70s. They've turned up, arms locked like this, looking at me. Who's this?
Fuck you, Alex.
Fuck you. Yeah. And I'm here to hold all that projection. Yeah. I'm here, and I know the power of the space. Yeah. And actually, even if they walk away with like a 10-15% change, which I know it'll be more than that, but like we've done our bit. So yeah, it's very powerful work. Very, very powerful.
Let me tell you some of the work I'm doing in a minute, mate. Mm-hmm. See if you can sort of decipher it for me a little bit. Yep. So. Little Tim's like got some things going on. He's always got some things going on.
Yeah.
But I always thought there was fight or flight. Mm-hmm. But what I've come to sort of realise is this freeze bit in the middle.
And fawn, yeah.
What?
Freeze and fawn, where you're freezing or shutting down. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Can you talk to me about that a little bit? Because I've had to, like on a few different occasions, either through the plant medicine or meditation or breath work, go back and kind of unfreeze myself. Because I don't think many people know about the freeze state.
Yes.
It's either running off or, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So this is going back to what I said earlier about the trauma cycle being incomplete. So we have our preconditioned response mechanism. Your nervous system has a preconditioned response mechanism to your trauma state that you chose as a child. Okay? So if you stay with me on this, if when I got scared, when I felt angry, when I felt shut down, or whatever happened to me as a child, at some point I went into running away was the answer. And it can fluctuate, but predominantly, mine has been run away. Fight can be another one, which I definitely can do at times. Or this freeze state, which is where I'm my body is shutting down because it can't cope with all these emotions that I'm feeling in this moment. Or it might even be like I'm playing dead, because if I was... my reptilian brain, my amygdala response center that sits in your brain has developed over thousands of years, and we've developed this beautiful neocortex that helps us intellectually think. But back in the Stone Age, if you had a saber-toothed tiger come by, a bit like Jurassic Park when it's like, let's just stay still and the T-Rex won't see us, this kind of freeze-fawn response could have saved your life. So it's worked, marvelously for you, right? When you were in the Stone Age, right? That's the development of our human brains, and why we're here today is that we have an incredible survival mechanism. Okay, our nervous systems are trained; they know how to respond to every single moment. Right? When there's fear there, it's like, boom! I either need to shoot loads of adrenaline in my body and fight this tiger, or I need to pretend that I'm dead and maybe it won't, bite my neck and kill me. Okay, so you are learning as a conscious individual to override that, because is that serving you? My question to you is that serving you as an adult? No, it's not, right? No. So this is why, for instance, cold water therapy is fantastic, because like I'm about to get into the cold water, that might come up. I might start to shut down. I might be like, I really think I should go and do the washing up right now, or the laundry, because like that's running away. And getting into the cold water creates your default mechanism. So there's
retraining your mind to...
Retraining your mind. Like there's a great saying in boxing, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah.
Well, getting in the water is the same thing. You get into that cold water, everyone's got a plan until they get hit with that cold bucket of water, or they're in that ice bath and it's like, fuck,
Yeah.
And you see them go into the sympathetic state. Their nervous system is like trying to get out of there. So it's overriding your nervous system state, overriding your default nervous system state that you are naturally drawn into through conscious awareness and breath to bring you back into your parasympathetic. So if you've got sympathetic, which is your anxiety breath, I need to run, I need to freeze, I need to shut down. Your parasympathetic is probably what you're feeling now, which is calm, restful. Your digestion is happening normally, your heartbeat is slow. That is when your neocortex is online. That's when your brain is optimizing. That's where all decision making should be coming from, because it's rational decision making. In your sympathetic state, you're in your fear state, you're not making the best decisions. You might have to make quick life-changing decisions, but you're not necessarily always making the right one. This is why, just on I don't want to get too drawn into it, but like on a political level, it's better to keep people in fear, because then they're going to make irrational decisions. Yeah. So that's how people have controlled people for millennia. Is the masses are controlled through fear, because they're going to stay more in their amygdala center, their sympathetic nervous system. So what's happening to you when you freeze and you shut down is that's probably your default state. Now, I would be working with you to notice that and to start to shift yourself out of that. And in those early stages, you might need someone to help you shift, because you might literally, like when I was having panic attacks, my whole body would like almost just like cave in. Wow. And so I'd need massage, I'd need touch, I'd need acupuncture to start activating my physical body. But through that conscious awareness of taking myself into the trigger, because there'll be a trigger that creates this response. Yeah. So identifying the triggers, and then from identifying the triggers, this is actually used in obsessive compulsive disorder as a way of therapy. It's called exposure response therapy, ERP, which is I'm going into the triggers consciously to notice the trigger in my body, but to not let it overwhelm me. This is why you start small. You don't go to your full trigger straight away. So if I had a phobia towards spiders, I wouldn't go and hold a spider. I'd start with a picture of a spider with the client, let's say. Notice that they might start to shut down in their body. Okay, now you breathe through that, stay with me, reach the peak of anxiety together. Realize that once you've reached the peak, you're not going to die. Then it comes down. Then the next time you do it, it's not going to be the same as it was last time. And the next time it's going to be lower, the next time it's going to be lower, the next time it's going to be lower. This is how you treat obsessive compulsive disorder. It's the only real effective way to go into the fear. And if you think about it, I use this analogy a lot because we are all on the spectrum. We all have some form of obsession and compulsion, because I would say we all have some form of vice. Could be sugar, could be alcohol, drugs, it could be addiction to validation. There's still an obsession there. I'm not good enough. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling lonely. I need a compulsion to not feel this, to self-soothe myself in this moment. So I'm moving around a lot here, but essentially this compulsion that overrides the obsession is because I don't want to feel this emotion in my body. And that's why my body is also probably shutting down, because the trauma cycle isn't complete as a child. And therefore I need to soothe myself in the moment to not feel what needs to be felt. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think because I've done so much kind of work on myself that what you're saying really sort of validates what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I think when I first when I did my first plant medicine experience.
Is that ayahuasca? Or?
It was mushrooms.
Mushrooms, psilocybin.
Yeah, psilocybin. Yeah. And I didn't go in with any knowledge. Fuck me, it was awful. Mm-hmm. But every time I do it now, I've got the knowledge. Yeah. Stuff that you're saying now, as it's happening to me, the triggers, I'm able to actually move with it.
Yes.
But the first one I ever had was just like
too much. Awful. Too much too soon. That's how trauma can happen. So we have to be careful.
But I'm very thankful for it as well, mate, because I can kind of sit in the darkness quite well, mate. Yeah. And I'm all right. Yes. Going to it and looking it right in the face. Yeah. Where other people, what you're saying, need to look at the picture first, or maybe it's not even a picture. We just talk about something.
And let's think about this. If we want to create change, when I'm coaching men, I'm like, I need to know your edges. I need to know what triggers you, because I want you to be walking. This is the warrior energy. I want you to be walking into your triggers every day, because that's how your life grows. As a leader, you're scared of speaking to people in public. Right, let's get you on a stage. Let's start feeling what it feels like to get embarrassed, to mess up, to make mistakes. And that is the way we grow, that is the way we learn, and that's the way our life expands. And that is what is needed for us to elevate. If I'm not scared at least once a week, I'm not moving in the right direction. We have to realize that fear is not a full stop, okay? Because that's what our nervous system's telling us. Your nervous system has told you previously that fear is a full stop, is shut down. No, actually, when a man learns to alchemize his fear, he realizes that fear is not the full stop. Fear is the signal to his body that he's moving in the right direction for transformation. That doesn't mean you don't listen to fear at all, because if you're in front of a high cliff, okay, that's scary. But you're only built in with two innate fears. One of them is the fear of loud noises. And the second is not a fear of heights, but an awareness to, if I fall from this height, I will die. So there's like a fear that's keeping you alive. Okay, everything else is man-made. Yeah, and if you go to the list in America of like what's the number one fear in the top 10, 7 is death, which is funny, and number 1 is public speaking. So it just shows you how people don't want to be seen, don't want to put themselves out there, because it's scary, right? To put yourself out there, to shine, to share with the world. I think especially in the English culture, the class system that we've come from, it's like don't get too above your station, young man. So and we love to build someone up, but the British media also do love to kind of tear someone down as well. So
can you talk a little bit about your sort of plant medicine experience and go through that for me, mate?
Yeah, of course. So I've experienced both ayahuasca and psilocybin. My first experience was ayahuasca, which is a powerful medicine derived from South America. I believe it's a root and a leaf that's mixed together. And I drank this in a number of ceremonies in Thailand, and this was very much a last resort for me. I remember considering, I was about 3 years into my journey, I'd done a lot of healing work, but I was still considering taking my own life at times, because I just tried so much, and it wasn't the answer, because I found the true answer in men's work, but what it did was it opened me up to realizing the separation between my mind and my attachment to my mind. So leading up to that moment, I was my thoughts. I was identifying a lot with my thoughts. Meditation was definitely disidentifying with me, but it definitely helped create that separation between, okay, this is arising in my consciousness. I am having the thought that I am scared, not that I am scared. And it also brought a deeper spiritual understanding to my life. I mean, without getting too woo-woo, like when you have experiences with psilocybin, with ayahuasca, not everybody, but a number of people have visuals and can see things, and it opens up. In yoga, we'd call this opening up the higher chakras. So you've got a third eye in your ajna, and you've got a crown chakra, which is your sahasrara. And this is kind of where you download everything. And it definitely built that connection of what I'm able to download. And I saw imagery. I got regressed back to being a baby. I saw all this green stuff being pumped through my veins and like cleaning me out, because it's the grandmother energy. Certainly ayahuasca is. I was actually for 4 hours, this is why I don't want my experience to scare someone, but I was paralyzed from the neck down for 4 hours, so it almost made me experience my stroke again. And what I could hear in my ear was, this is happening to you, Alex, because if you could move right now, you'd be running away out this room, so we're going to like shut your body down. Now that doesn't happen to everyone, but I was thankful that I couldn't move, and I just was having to stay present and witness.
Just trust the process.
Just trust the process, because I had such control issues that the grandmother plant was saying, "Hey, like,
get it.
Just fucking like, surrender." And psilocybin was very similar. it was probably an add-on to the journeys I'd experienced with ayahuasca. But again, I approach plant medicines very skeptic. Same as I approach past life regression, very skeptical. I was like, you're not going to be able to hypnotize me. Yeah. I'm not sure I believe in all that. And then after that experience and after the ayahuasca experience, it definitely deepened my connection to spirituality, to this world isn't just everything that we see from the three-dimensional. Okay, that's your brain can only conceptualize that generally. But actually it showed me the possibility of other dimensional energies, whether we call that heaven, God, spirits, whatever it is. It opened me up to the belief, because you can't unsee what you see. You know, you hear about all these people that have near-death experiences, and the DMT is shot into their brain, just like in an ayahuasca ceremony, and they talk about the same experiences. So it gives me hope. And through the Buddhist approach and the yogic approach that I follow, the understanding of reincarnation and that this physical body is here to serve its dharma, its life purpose, but actually the soul will continue and carry on. So yeah, but now we're getting quite deep.
Yeah, I mean that it's hard, isn't it? Because it's like these people you're trying to attract. if you start talking like this,
you don't want to put them off.
Yes, and it is exactly the woo-woo bit.
Yeah.
But if you can get past that and then just get into a bit, call it woo if you want, call it whatever you want. It's beautiful. Once you can't. It's like me trying to explain to somebody about climbing a mountain, getting to the top of a mountain. That feeling. Yeah. Once you've had the feeling of the woo and you've seen the things that both you and I have seen and felt. Yeah. Very hard to explain.
I say to my clients, and this is where we should start: psychology.
Yeah.
Embodiment. Psychology, though, will take you half the way there. Spirituality will take you the rest. And what I mean by that is not to become suddenly a devout Christian. No, I'm saying that spirituality will start to look at the questions that your soul is, that you may be very disconnected from at this present time, right? Because you're so connected to the mind. Spirituality will start to answer the questions of the soul. Psychology will answer the questions of the mind. But we first must get the mind to experience the imprint of evidence of an experience for them to go, actually, I was a non-believer, or I was this, or I was that, and actually now I want to deepen my journey. And most of the men I go on a journey with, they sign up to my other more personal work, where I take men to Morocco or Thailand, because they're more spiritual journeys. They're more deeper inquiry into meditation, mindfulness, answering these kind of questions.
Who am I?
Who am I? Yeah. Why am I truly here? This is like legacy work. Yeah. I get the men to write their own obituary of like the man they are now if they change nothing, and the man they could be. And that's a really like powerful workshop.
Yeah.
That's a really, to read out like Alexander Cottle didn't live a life that he knew he could. He gave in. Like he gave up. He just cruised in fourth gear. Like and to read that out loud to a group of men, it's like, whoa, I don't. And then I asked them, do you want to be that man? And of course they're like, no. I'm like, well, tell me the man you want to be. And so then that's when we write the obituary of the life, the biggest, greatest life, where all of your talents, all your beliefs, all your ideas came into amalgamation and you lived it. Now tell me that life. Give that to me. And you can feel like their energy in their body. And they're like, so that is potent. That's there. That's yours if you want it. But the question is, do you want it? That's the question. Are you worthy of it? That's the second question. Because their mind probably is telling them they're not quite worthy of it. Yeah?
Yeah.
We only get what we're given if we believe that we're worthy of it. And that works both ways, the good and the bad. The reason people stay in abusive relationships is because they feel that they are worthy of that abuse in some way. I did that for years. Yeah. I'm a piece of shit, so treat me like a piece of shit. But that's what I teach men to do, is to move into their gold rather than to act from their shadow, to live the life that they can live, the life they deserve, rather than die today without those dreams, those talents, those ideas, those beliefs, just unfulfilled. Because that's not a happy man.
Fucking hell, it's powerful work, that, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, it's big stuff. It's big stuff.
Do you actually It's you and your wife, isn't it?
She's actually, I proposed to her 2.5 weeks ago, so in Morocco. So soon to be what? Fiance.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So do you two sit down and sort of like take count of what you've done and how many lives you've saved?
I think we do every now and again.
But from a Buddhist point of view, you don't attach yourself to...
No, you serve. So in the yogic terminology, karmic yoga, karma yoga is not sweeping some guru's ashram in India. Karma yoga is acting out of service and relinquishing the outcome. Okay, so if I got attached to how many people I served, then there's a place for my ego to just, run away with itself. I want to show up every single day serving, not killing myself in the process of that, because otherwise we become a martyr. We have to fill our own cup, yeah? And that can be hard for a lot of men, because that's equivalent to them saying that they're being selfish. No, they're not being selfish. They're loving themselves, so then they can show up better for their children, for their family. So it's important that we create structure and boundaries from that space. But I want to serve. There's no greater gift. Like, the money you get paid to run these things and to do what we do is fantastic. It's great, right? But where I feel most alive is when I'm in a room full of men and I'm leading them and I'm helping them move through their wounds and their pains and their suffering, and like I'm serving. And it's a connection that you can't even. It's why so many people do runs for charity or show up for charity. It's like there is something you're getting here that is far greater than the financial wealth could ever give you. It resonates with a quality in your soul. I believe that is true, that it's authentic, and that's why I do what I do. I love it. And I'm very fortunate. And so we do sit down every now and again, and we have to touch ourselves and pinch ourselves and go, hey, like, wow.
Just how grateful you are to like...
Yeah, because when I started this, I said I wanted to change one man's life. And I've not only changed thousands of men's life, it's actually the ripple effects. It's the children that now have more present fathers. It's the wives that are no longer...
The ancestral...
Yes, yeah. They're no longer getting... psychological abuse in the home, the controlling patterns. There's men out there that are no longer drinking, no longer bringing their self-soothing drug addictions to the home. There's so much good. Ironically though, Tim, even though you bring all this good into the world, my teacher says this to me: as you get more well established in what you do, the people that think you're a dick will grow. And I get shot at a lot. I get a lot of projection, and I have to learn to hold that. I regularly get trolled on Instagram, from what I would say the unconscious masculine. I wake up to a troll every day, like, this is gay, this is stupid, like, oh, this is a bunch of Brokeback Mountain men. Like, it's the masculine is so wounded out there that, like, a lot of this negative masculinity is still present. And I just don't get involved in it. I'm just like, okay, that's where they're at. But
these are the people that will be reaching out to you though in 6 months, won't they, or a year. Yeah, the paying attention to the content.
Absolutely.
The little, guy inside saying, no, let's call that out, because that's what my dad used to do. Yeah. And then at some point on the breaking point, they'll reach out and go. Yeah.
That man that's learnt to talk like that was learnt in a household where he was probably ingrained and bullied and radicalized. Yeah. And the bully out of everyone is the one that wants
really is a lover, but he's been like warrior dad. Like, and he's gone totally the other way. He's gone to warrior, not his true.
And that's because I don't want to face my emotions that I had to face as a child. Yeah. So I've created such a layer of armor of the hard man, of the ultra masculinity man, that actually this is all this kingdom is built on a false pretense. It's not actually real. When I look at like the strong male archetypes of that ilk out there, like Andrew Tate's, for instance, there is so much insecurity and so much lost, scared little boy in that man. But he would palm that off using defense, using physicality, using tough language. But that man is severely, severely hurting. And do I judge him and wish him pain? No. I'd get in a room with him and I'd help him and I'd help unpack that. Because that can be unpacked, that can be healed, and you don't have to be that man. I can assure you, he doesn't want to be that man, but he thinks he needs to, and it's a prison. It's a fucking
that
prison.
identity that he's built up for himself.
It's a prison, and he suffers more than anyone with that.
That mask that he's put on.
Yeah, because to live in that state of pure kind of masculinity all the time, oh my God, there's so much that gets buried, and that will impact him. It will impact him at some point in his life. Yeah, I'm sure it does already.
What's coming up, mate? What have you got? What have you got on the cards? What's?
So we have we've got we're part of an exciting Sky documentary coming out in the first quarter of next year, and that's with Ross Kemp. Ross Kemp came in and did some of our work, so we're looking forward to being part of that. It won't be a huge part, but it will be a part of. It's a 5-part documentary, and the first 4 parts are the problem in men, and the 5th part is the solution. So we're being put as one of the solutions. We've got facilitator training coming up in October, which I've actually opened up 2 more spaces to teach men how to lead this work. So it's an 8-month journey, 3 in-person events and the rest online. Got level 2 next month, which is the follow-on to our level 1. We're sold out for that, but those run yearly. Same with level 1s. We've got Unmasked Woman at the end of the year, so that's where we bring the work to the feminine, and we've still got a few spaces left on that. And we run the men's circles. I'll be in London, I'll be running around the country, more podcasts like this, just getting the word out there. We're really looking forward to the Sky documentary coming out, because I think it will not only show our work, but this work needs to get out there. Like, men's work is hidden in the shadows for over 35 years, and like, if men knew about this work, it would be changing the world even more. And so we need this on documentaries. We need this like at the forefront of the newspapers, of like men's mental health awareness. Like, it's so important. So I'm just going to be around campaigning, sharing, and just holding amazing spaces for others and for men to come and heal. That's what I do. That's what we do as a team. So,
where can people find you, mate, when they want to reach out?
They can find us at theunmaskedman.co.uk, or they can find us on Instagram, so the.unmaskedman, or my personal Instagram, which is Alexander_Cottle, Cottle. And yeah, reach out, lean in. That's what I'd say to a man. Just take that first step with curiosity. Come to a men's circle, or if you're ready to dive in, book a retreat and feel the fear of booking that retreat and surrender to the process. Because I always say the work starts working when you make that commitment. So it's not when you turn up through the door. It's when you book that men's circle, you book that retreat. That's when you start feeling the apprehension in your body. That's when the work starts to come up and things start to percolate. And that means that you're moving. Like I said, it's not a full stop. You're moving in the right direction that you need to go. Thank you, Alex. Got a lot of love for you, mate. Appreciate you. Equal. Thank you. Thank you for listening, everybody. Goodbye.
You're branded with the best in line.